guys. So today I am going to give some more tips that I have learned from therapy for my OCD. Like I said, I like to share these because I paid a lot of money for therapy and I know not everybody can afford it. It's extremely expensive. I went through NoCD, so it was all online, but it helped me tremendously. So I wanted to talk more about OCD and some helpful tips and yeah, just what it's like living with it. For me, it is a daily battle. It hasn't always been like really bad, my OCD. When I was in college, when I was working full-time, things like that, there were times where it was, honestly, I didn't even notice it. But the past few years have been really bad, and I think it's because I have been home, staying at home, stay-at-home mom, and I haven't had a lot to, I work, I'm a nanny, I nanny kids in my home, but it hasn't been challenging for my brain. And so I feel like my OCD has gotten really bad because I haven't had enough other things to focus on. You know, so my brain, I feel like, went kind of crazy, just found things to latch onto, and just, I feel like people with OCD have overactive brains, and when they're not being challenged and activated and stuff like that, I feel like they tend to kind of go kooky. So yeah, the past few years have been really bad, really, really hard, and yeah, just like so bad I didn't even want to get out of bed daily because I would just have thoughts all day that wouldn't stop, and it was like I just didn't even want to try. So if you're there, if you're in a, like, I don't even want to get out of bed, I don't even want to try, just know that there's help, and it won't be that way forever. You just need some tools to help you, and that's what I needed. So the main thing that I want to focus on today is acceptance. So with OCD, so I'm going to give you an example of, I'm having OCD right now, actually. This morning I woke up early, I went and got on my phone, and I'm on the NoCD app. So I go and I often, like, there's like group support in there, there's people just constantly making comments and wanting feedback from people, and so I constantly go in and check it and try to help people and read what people are experiencing, and I've just embraced that I have OCD, and now I try to learn as much as I can about it. Whereas before, and this is a big difference, before, when I got therapy, I was in denial about having OCD. I hated that about myself, and I just wanted to hurry and get through therapy so that I could be fixed and healed and wouldn't have to speak of this ever again. And honestly, I didn't really get that much better because I didn't accept the fact that I had it. And also, acceptance isn't just that. Acceptance is accepting that whatever the OCD is telling you, maybe or maybe not, it's true. So if it's saying, what if that bump that you just hit on the road was a child and you just killed a child? It's accepting that maybe you did. Because the OCD feeds off of the uncertainty and the unknown. And so all day you sit there and go, did I hit a child? Did I hit a child? And you maybe drive back to the spot and try to figure out if you hit the child. And once you do it once, it's not enough. So maybe you'll check and look and see, okay, maybe I hope I didn't hit them. Okay, I don't think I did. And then maybe you drive home and that will pop up again. But you better check again. I bet you might have and you might not have known. And so then you go check again. This is just an example, but it is just never good enough. So accepting what the OCD is telling you. If it's telling you, oh, you need to wash your hands. You have a lot of germs on your hand and you're gonna get your family terribly sick. Well, maybe I am. Accept the possibility that that might happen. Because once you do that, it stops feeding the OCD, and the OCD now goes, oh, okay, now what do I do? Because you're throwing it off, because you're no longer feeding this monster. And it is a monster. The more you feed it, the more it wants. It's never good enough. Once is never enough. It is seriously like, in my mind, I equate it to like an addiction. Like with drugs, it's like one hit is never enough. It might last for a little bit, but then you need another and another and another. So accept the possibility that whatever it is telling you might happen. And sit with the uncomfortable feeling that it might. It will be uncomfortable. Trust me, I know. Like I've said before, I feel like I'm crawling in my skin when I do that. Like I literally give myself goosebumps sitting there and not checking something or not thinking something again or whatever. I have so many different types of OCD, but so many different themes. But if you can go refocus and do something else, eventually that feeling will pass. And you just do that all day, no matter what comes up. Accept the possibility that maybe you will kill your family. Maybe you will pick up that knife on the counter and stab your entire family. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Oh well, sit with that uncomfortable feeling. And the crazy thing is that these things they come at you because they're the farthest thing from what you actually want to do. So you're not going to do those things. You're not going to stab your entire family. You're not going to get your family sick. But accept the possibility that maybe you will. Maybe you will. And sit with that. Sit with that feeling. Sit with the uncomfortable. But anyways, going back to the OCD I was having today. Sorry, I got very distracted. But anyway, so I went and checked that app and I saw some comments on there and I liked one of the comments. And immediately my OCD went, you liked that person's comment. And it was like they were needing help. They were sad. They were upset about something and you liked it. And it did like a heart on the comment. And it's like, and my OCD was just kind of like, ugh, why didn't you try to like help them? Why did you just do a like? Now they're going to think that you liked that they're miserable and that they're struggling with something. And it really bothered me. And I just ignored it. And I, got off my phone and I knew it was OCD and it has been bothering me since. That happened at probably 6 something this morning. And my brain just sits there and goes, no CD, that, it latches onto, okay, you got to fix that. So you need to go into the No CD app and you need to unlike that. And so then sometimes my brain will pick up on like one word to remember what I need to do later. So what's stuck in my mind right now is no CD. It's a compulsion. It's a compulsion that my brain is thinking, okay, you need to go fix this later. So I can remember like 1 word or 2 word or 3 word phrases and it'll stick in my mind, something I have to do later. And my job is to just completely ignore it and just go, well, that's OCD. And sit with the uncomfortable feeling of my brain wanting to think the thought, no CD, no CD, no CD, over and over and over and over. So I know mine is different than, and I've had so many different things, but this is just one example of like something that bothers me on a daily basis. It can be so many, it's so many different things, but this is just one example, like I said. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to sit there and ignore that and not think that thought. And but it's another thing that helped me is my therapist taught me it's like a bee sting. And if you've watched my other video, I'm sorry I'm repeating some of the stuff, but so anything past the initial intrusive thought is a compulsion. So even me thinking the thought no CD after that was a compulsion, because it was like my brain trying to come up with a way to remember what I needed to do later. So I've learned to, like, I have to remind myself all day, like, bee sting, bee sting. And it's like, you don't give that any attention. You can't help the thoughts that come to your mind, the intrusive thoughts that come to your mind, but anything past that thought coming to your mind is a compulsion. This is mostly for people with pure OCD, where it's, you know, you're doing compulsions in your head. So that has helped me more than anything, because I realized how much I was doing compulsions all day, because I was thinking of one-word phrases to remember what bothered me, or, you know, so that I could hang on to it, so that I could fix it later if I really needed to. Like, say my kids said a phrase or something, or let's say, like, I threw something in the garbage and it really bothered me that I didn't recycle it or whatever. Like, maybe I threw away a can of whatever. This is just an example. Orange juice. Then what would stick in my mind is juice, 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 juice all day long, so that I could remember I needed to fix it later. So it's a compulsion. It's a way that my brain I was doing compulsions. And then I would repeat that phrase so much in my mind that I couldn't even function throughout the day, because, like, if I had to read something or do something, I was like, oh, I can't forget this thing. So I would sit there and constantly felt like I had to repeat that phrase, juice, 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 juice. And I wouldn't say it out loud. This was me thinking it, because I mostly have pure OCD, so it's like you wouldn't know that I had it because it's all going on in my head. But my head, man, oh, scary place to be. I wouldn't want to be there. Well, I am there, but I've told my husband, I'm like, my worst fear is literally being trapped in a room by myself for a long time, because I've been so scared of my own mind and what it latches onto and what it thinks, and what, like, if you have true OCD, you will understand what I'm saying. You literally feel like you are crazy. And I know that that's a very common thing with people with OCD. They feel crazy. Like, it's, yeah, you feel out of control. You just feel like a lunatic. But you're not. Just know that. It is part of the disease. Everybody that has this disease feels that way. Trust me. You're not crazy. It's just something's a little bit off in our brains, and we have to work a little harder to work through it. So my therapist also taught me to not focus on the fear. So OCD latches onto our fears. So if we have a fear of hurting our children, it's going to latch onto maybe, like, what if you pick up that knife and stab your children? What if you molest your children? What if you touch them inappropriately and you are a pedophile? All these things that are the absolute last things that you would ever want to happen. It latches onto that. And so my therapist taught me to not focus on the fear. Because when you do that, you're letting OCD win. You're giving it control. to kind of take over and tell you what it wants you to do. So that's where you turn it on its head and say, oh, I hope I stab my family. It sounds crazy, and you don't have to say it out loud, but you can think this, and you can even write it down in like a journal or something, and you can look at it every day, because you want to expose yourself to, it's an exposure response. So maybe write down whatever your OCD is that you don't, whatever your OCD is telling you it doesn't want to happen. Write it down and look at it every day, multiple times a day. Write down the opposite. So if it says, what if you don't clean your house and your kids all get sick because you didn't clean your house perfectly? Then you can write down, I hope my house is a disaster and my kids get sick. And you can read that over and over every day. And what it does is it starts to take down the fear, because it's starting to kind of, I guess, normalize it in your brain and just take the fear down because you're exposing yourself to it. And it might seem crazy and it's scary. It's scary at first, but it eventually lessens and lessens. So yeah, exposing yourself and not focusing on the fear. My therapist taught me to step towards the fear. So one of my fears is that I won't be present, that I'm so stuck on these thoughts that that I'm not here. And for a long time that happened. I just was in another land. Like, I was not here. I just, was in outer space because my brain was constantly stuck on stuff. And so, she taught me step towards the fear. So I had to write down on my list of things. Well, actually, she had me write down here, maybe I won't be fully present. So accepting that maybe I won't be, and that's part of acceptance, right? Maybe I won't be, but she had me write down on my, paper that I have on my mirror, I don't want to be present. I hope I'm not present. And again, it turns it on its head, and I don't know. It works though. It works because when I look at that paper in my mirror and I'm having these fears like, oh my gosh, they're starting school. Like, what if I'm not present? What if I don't this? What if I miss something? And then it's like, I read that and I'm like, I don't want to be present. I hope I'm not. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And it chills me out. Like, it really takes away the fear because now I'm telling myself, oh, I hope I'm not. So yeah, step towards the fear and accept whatever it's telling you. Accept that maybe it will happen. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But you're not going to sit there and ruminate about it and think about it all day because maybe it will and maybe it won't. And that's all. And you move forward and sit with the uncomfortable of maybe you did something, maybe you didn't. Maybe you washed your hands, maybe you didn't. Maybe you'll kill your family, maybe you won't. But I'm laughing because these are the crazy things that OCD tells us. Like, crazy, crazy stuff that we would never, ever do. But it's kind of psycho, and it puts those thoughts in our mind. Like, insane thoughts. So I guess I giggle about it because if you know, you know. And it's just, it makes me laugh a little bit at how crazy the thoughts are. But yet it makes you feel like they are true and like you're actually going to do them. Even though they're insane and they're the last thing that you would want to do. My therapist, I'm going to end this really soon. So one more thing I'm going to share today is OCD wants us to isolate because it is an abuser. And that made so much sense to me when my therapist told me that, because I stopped going to family parties, I stopped going to family events, I stopped just wanting to go anywhere, even to the grocery store, because I was like, my OCD gets so loud when I go those places, and I have so much fear, and what if I'm not present? Again, it's like, What if I have a conversation and I'm not present and people think I'm stupid? Or do they think that, or I said something weird, and then I'm going to sit there and think about the weird thing I said, and what if people think I'm weird? And that's what OCD wants. It wants to isolate you because it is an abuser. And guess what? The more time it has with you and your thoughts, the more it can abuse you. So why wouldn't it want to do that? It literally is like a bully living inside your head. And that is the way kind of they describe it in NoCD, is it's a bully. And it really truly is. And if you know someone that deals with this, or you deal with OCD, you will understand. Well, if you know someone with it, you probably won't understand. If you deal with it yourself, you will probably understand how it is a bully, and it wants to use and abuse you. It wants you to think about these things all day long and not go about your day and not enjoy life and be stuck on these horrible, horrendous thoughts. It wants you to think you're a bad person. It wants you to think, because guess what? Then it gets to abuse you even more. So when you feel these things, I shouldn't go to this party because what if I'm not present? Guess what? Go to that party. And just accept the fact that maybe you won't be present. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have a terrible experience. Maybe you won't. Whatever it is, go anyways and face your OCD and say, I'm not going to let you win. Guess what? I'm going to go do what I want to do. And it starts to back off. It starts to kind of back off when you take control. Granted, it will do something called the backdoor spike, where it will now, if you've got one thing down and it can't bother you with it anymore, it'll come up with something totally new. So do not be surprised if you get one thing down, you expose yourself every day, and you face your fear, and you now are no longer scared that you're going to stab your family because you've faced it every day. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll stab my family and I'll be alone the rest of my life. You know, you're writing that down every day and looking at it, and maybe it starts to fade and not be as scary, and you accept that that's a possibility. Then as you get less scared, it's going to come at you with something else. So now maybe it'll latch on to, but what if you don't pray every day? What if you don't pray every day and something really bad happens to your family? Now what? Like maybe you won't stab your family, but maybe if you don't pray, maybe God won't protect your family. This is totally just examples, but that's what it does. It will come at you with something new. And guess what? It will terrify you, and you will probably go back to where you were in the beginning, where you're terrified and scared, and you just do the same thing. You expose yourself to the possibility of that and say, well, maybe if I don't pray every day, maybe my family will die. Oh well. And you can write that down and look at that 20 times a day. Maybe if I don't pray every day, my family is going to die. If I don't pray every day, my family is going to die. And you expose yourself to that and accept the possibility that that could happen. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who really knows? But you're not going to give it attention, and it will scream at you to give it attention. It is like a toddler that wants a snack. And no matter how loud it gets, you are literally going to step over it. Step over that screaming child that's on the floor and completely ignore it. You don't give it any attention. And again, you will feel extremely uncomfortable. But giving it attention feeds the OCD and makes it louder and makes it need more and more and more and more and more of your attention. So you just ignore it no matter how loud it is screaming at you. And you just continue to say, well, maybe my family will die if I don't pray. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. And it's just this continuous thing. And eventually you'll get better at it, and it will start to fade more as it realizes you're ignoring these things and you're not giving it attention, and you're just going on with your day. So you are focusing on your tasks that you have to do, no matter how loud these thoughts are. You, as soon as they pop into your mind, you say, okay, this is OCD. I'm not going to give it attention. And you move on. and focus on the task at hand. Focus on the things that you are supposed to be doing, one thing at a time. I sometimes have to go, sometimes I am so in my head that I literally feel like I'm having a breakdown, and my husband says, what's the next thing that you have to do? Just the next thing. And I think, okay, I need to go do the dishes. I can do that one thing. And then after I do the dishes, what's the next thing I need to do? And you just continue to do that. And those thoughts, they can come in and you don't give them attention, because we can't control what comes in and out of our brain every day. Well, we can control, I guess, what goes out. Does that make sense? I don't know. We can't control what comes in our head. And I've tried to control my thoughts before, and I literally have given myself headaches trying to not think about something. And also, the more you try to not think about something, the louder it gets. So it's like the pink elephant thing. The more you say, okay, don't think about this. Don't think about what just happened. You're gonna think about it all day, because that's how our brains work. So yeah, just let your thoughts come in. You don't need to control your thoughts. But when they come in, because we can't control it, but we can control what we do when they do come in. So when they come in, that's where you just say, no, this is OCD, and I'm not going to give it attention, because it doesn't deserve my attention and it's not important. So I'm going to end this video, but I hope that helps you guys. I have tons more to share. So stay tuned if you want more information, but I will tell you, I went from a complete basket case that couldn't function to, I mean, my life isn't perfect, and I still struggle with OCD, obviously. Happened today, happens every day, all day. But I have the tools to manage it and not just completely fall apart and want to stay in my bed all day. But just know that things will get better. Just keep trying to find tools. If you can afford therapy, get into therapy. If not, keep watching free videos and getting tools to help you. But I do highly recommend NoCD. They are so helpful, so fantastic. I cannot even tell you how great they are. And like literally, I did not see hope and light. And when I talked to my therapist, I saw hope and light. And so from my personal experience, NoCD did wonders for me. So anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.